Hey folks, welcome. Howdy, how are you all? Uh, Welcome to an amazing office hour sesh with Namit. We're just gonna wait for 2 more minutes for people to join and then we'll begin. In the meantime, if you're already on the call link, please drop where you're joining the meeting from so that we know where the audience is from. Nice.
Yeah, we have people flowing in. I see a bunch of names from the Smart Lead chat.
Vaibhav.
So
Vaibhav saying he's in Dubai. Hey Vaibhav, you're in Dubai right now.
Yes, sir. Here
Nice,
to
nice.
troll you.
are you enjoying the Burj Khalifa life?
Uh, This city knows how to humble you. I tell you that. Knows how to
Fair.
humble you. Good morning, everybody. New faces for you all to work with. So I'm just gonna step on the side and let Swapnil and Namit take over.
Hey folks, drop it in the chat. Where are you all from? Nice.
No, nice.
Okay, we'll just wait for another 2 minutes and we'll begin. Just give me 1 minute.
There's way more than 20. There's more than 5 people over here. Come on, guys. Let's guys and girls. Let's see where you are. Drop us. Shout out your location.
Yep, we've got
All
people
right, we got
joining.
India. All right, cool. That's fine. A bit more specific would help. All right, Brazil. Nice. I am not gonna comment and throw some random football joke. Texas. All right. India. Thanks, Swapnil. All right. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. We've got a few more minutes, and then we're gonna call it and kick off. I know. Just FYI that I've sort of panned this off with that running. Oh God, Fede. Oh gee, how you going, man? Been a minute.
How you doing?
Been a minute. Welcome on. Welcome on. All the way from like I don't know how many years we've been talking at this point, but it's good to have you on, man.
Good to see you.
Awesome. Good to see you too.
Okay,
For those who don't notice
just wait for
the background logo, good guess.
That's a pretty
Uh,
cool logo. Okay, we'll just wait for another minute. For all of you that don't know me, my name is Swapnil. I head growth at Smart Lead, and I'll be hosting the office hour session today with Namit. Uh, and yeah, you would see me as the voice on Slack, where I keep on posting about the office hour sessions and keeping you folks up to date. Just give me 1 more minute. And yeah, I think let's get started. We'll have more people joining in. Uh, cool. So, howdy, folks. Welcome to another office hour sesh with us at Smartlead. With us, we have Namit. Uh, Namit is the guy to go to when you're building lead lists. He's the founder of Deliverability Ninja. He's booked more than 1,800 meetings. He helps clients in general with helping them set up their email deliverability, helping them with lead list building or anything called email. To give you more perspective, he's a CS student turned sales professional. Namit, would you also like to tell us about the acquisition for Socio that you helped them with?
For sure, yeah. Super exciting story. One of our first jobs. I was hired by the CEO associate to help with operations, and they were a startup at that time. Massive. I saw them grow tremendously. We used to have like a wins channel in Slack that used to be buzzing all the time. Socio ended up being acquired by Cisco for $250 million. The founders were absolute geniuses. They were all 25, 26-year olds, college dropouts. So it was one of those unicorn stories that I got to witness.
Nice. So, folks, Namit has prepared a really great presentation on, and he plans to walk you through his mechanisms of lead list building. To let you know why we've arranged this office hour session in the first place, uh, we've heard you, right? We see you on Slack. We know most of you are either struggling to build lead lists which are high quality, or getting to that right match for your ideal customer persona, right? And we all know that is a make or break when it comes to cold email. Without the right lead lists, it's just not possible to reach out to the right prospects or get those flashy numbers that you keep on seeing, right? And turning those prospects into consistent revenue at any given point of time. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over the mic to Namit. Namit, the stage is all yours. Please go for it.
For sure, yeah. Well, appreciate you guys coming today. Really, really excited. Thank you, Weber, Swapnil, Smart Lead for hosting this. My goal in the next 20, 25 minutes, how much our time we have, is to give you guys as much value as possible. So I have a quick presentation for you guys. I'm going to be walking you through it. From your end, keep the chat buzzing. Love it, hate it, speed it up, slow it, whatever you guys want to say. I don't really mind as long as I keep seeing messages in the chat flowing. That's what pumps me.
Yeah. Before you start, Namit, folks, a quick, update. Keep all your questions for the last round, because we're going to have an EMA session with Namit as well, right at the end of his presentation, so that you folks can ask as many questions as possible, right? And the core purpose of this is to learn from his strategies, and also, like, Namit's got a good surprise in store for all of you. So yeah, go for it, Namit.
Sounds good. Right. Swapnil, let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Yep, we can see your screen.
Perfect. So today we're going to be talking about how you can use industry secrets to build high quality lead lists. I would argue building a high quality lead list is probably one of the most important things to getting meetings. So this is going to be my agenda for today. One, I want to talk about 2 lessons that I learned from Daniel Fazio. These alone helped 3x my business. Second, how I think about lead list building. So what's the actual mechanism behind lead list building, what the whole process is, followed by 2 examples of how I use lead list building for the toughest industries. And then for you guys exclusively who attended, I'm going to be giving you away my entire database collection. So everything I've collected over the past 2 years, and you can take it, use it, and build it for yourself. Before we go ahead, can you guys drop in the chat what industry you guys are from? So is it like a lot of lead gen companies here? Do you work for agencies? Are you software companies, other B2B companies? That's going to help me tailor this presentation to add more value. So a lot of agencies, B2B, SaaS. I see junk removal there, Andrew. Sales Harbor. I love it. So SaaS, B2B, lead gen, that staffing, accounting, that's perfect. So staffing firms, I have examples for you guys over here. So that's going to be super exciting. All right. Since you guys are all agencies, I'm going to give you guys 2 lessons that I learned from Daniel Fazio. And if you guys don't take away anything from this presentation, this is going to be the most important thing. This alone helped me increase my revenue by 3x. Lesson number 1, increase your inputs. So if everyone in the business world who's a lot more successful, Daniel Fazio, Gary Vee, Alex Hormozi, Grant Cardone, say the same thing, it means something. Daniel Fazio said, exert shit out in the world. Alex Hormozi had, like, if you want to increase your success rate, double your failure rate. Grant Cardone had 10x rule. What this means is, in order to generate more revenue, book more meetings, the number 1 cardinal rule is increase your inputs. So for in the cold email world, that means that if you're sending 1,000 emails on Smart Lead and booking 2 to 4 meetings, the simplest thing you can do is increase your inputs and send 2,000 emails to book more meetings. Lesson number 2 is sell what people want to buy. So all agencies under $30,000 per month should have 3 offers: a done with you, a done for you consultation. What that means is, if someone comes to you with an offer that's wanting to learn from you with a consultation or a done with you offer, don't turn them away. I used to do that. I used to start with a done for you offer. And if someone came with done with you, I just used to say no. And I've left more than 80 to 100 grand on the table because of this. So a lot of your business would be land and expand. So don't turn around away people and have these 3 offers in the back end. Given that, now I'm going to jump into lead list building and how I think about lead list building. So when we think about lead lists, all of us think about a bunch of emails with their first names and company that we can just upload to SmartLead. And yeah, I mean, like that's a great way. That's what lead list really is. But contradictory to what most people think, that's not how you build a lead list. A lead list, especially the high quality ones, which will actually get you meetings, need to be broken down into 2 steps. So, step number one, before you actually go into emails, is a find a list of qualified companies. And this is really, really important because you never want to reach out to unqualified companies. A, your response rate will be lower. B, even if they reply to you and book meetings, you can't really sell them anything. So now you have a bunch of meetings on your calendar, which is absolutely terrible with people you can't sell anything to, and you're just going to like disqualify them over and over again. So all you need is websites. If you have a list of websites, you can use any database to find contacts. So what you need to do is to find qualified websites. You can do this on onboarding calls with your company, go to market. Like you guys are probably the go to market leaders. Just make all of this like find qualified. So use company size filters, use revenue filters, really common. So make up your ICP using these. Industry filters, be very specific with this. Tech stack filters. Technology stack filters available everywhere. If that's relevant to you, use that. Employee by department filters, location filters, intent. So jobs, funding, leadership changes, and specialized criteria. Using all of these, you can find qualified websites. And once you have a list of qualified websites, everything else is going to be really easy. You've solved like 60% of the problem. So how do you do that? How do you find all of this? You do this using the correct database and scraping. So these are the 2 main tools in an arsenal, which we'll talk about. And I'll be giving you all the scraping and correct database tools to find a list of qualified companies. Any specific questions on finding list of qualified companies? Because this is the most important part. No? Yeah, Lucas, feel free to throw in questions. I'll look at it. If it's a quick question, I'll answer it. If it's gonna be something longer, I'll leave it for the end. But I have the chat open here. Particular for, I will give you guys all the databases. So don't worry about this by the end of this call.
So Namit, let me quickly jump in here and enable this exercise. So how would you go about finding, filtering out SaaS companies within a specific geography,
Okay.
which cater to a specific business,
Yeah.
right? Let's say if it's a very niche use case that let's say I want to target fintech companies, right?
Yes, exactly.
For
Yeah.
example.
So fintech companies do the correct database and scraping. So fintech, there are databases for fintech that you can use. So start off with like Crunchbase and all of that stuff, and you can find a list of fintech companies. Once you have those, you can use your generic database like Apollo or something like that for all these basic filters. So you need like a broad list and slowly you're filtering it down.
Got it. So like that brings me to the next question, which a lot of the people in the chat have also asked, right? Which is, firstly, what are your favorite databases to start this process from? Right. And is there any particular forums you refer to find these on?
Yeah, so I'll walk you guys through towards the end of the call. That's going to be answered towards the end.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
like my
I'll just
list
make
of
a
all
note
my databases.
Yeah, no worries. I'll just make a note of these questions then so that
Perfect.
all of them are answered.
All right. So by now, you guys probably have a list of qualified companies. Okay. And I'm going to make your job really easy. Step 2 is finding contacts. So step 1 is not finding contacts, and that's what most people miss. Step 2, so define or create your personas. So when you're on for lead gen companies, when you're on onboarding calls for other companies, like define or create who you want to reach out within that company. What I do is I go to Apollo and I have like really, really detailed personas for each client of mine. And after that, you can do that using seniority, department. So I have like an inclusion list and an exclusion list. Let's say you're reaching out to marketing folks. have your exclusion list as operations or HR. So they're not coming in between. Titles, these will have inclusion, exclusion list. Location, really important. Sometimes you're selling stuff where you can only sell to employees with a certain location. And as your company size increases, you want to add that as a filter. The next thing is always use cheap tools first. Now, when you're starting, there's a fine balance between time and money here. When you're starting out, money is more valuable. You can't just burn stuff. So use the cheap tools first. If you're a Smart Lead user, Smart Lead Slack, there are a lot of people offering really, really cheap tools, so you can leverage that. But this involves scraping. Apollo is one of the cheaper ones. For all the remaining ones, let's say use the cheap tools first, and there are certain emails you can't find, use expensive tools for the remaining ones. And that's kind of how the process goes. So that way you can create one of the cheapest lists possible. And now when you're going ahead and creating hundreds of thousands or millions of emails trying to find, this adds up really fast. So using step 1 and step 2, that's really it. Like once you guys get a hang of this, it becomes really easy to start building high quality lead lists. Now, what I want to do is go into examples for lead list building. No questions right now. Into lead list building, and 2 things I did. For all of you guys who've done recruiting lead list building, you know it's probably the hardest ones to do. Just because I believe like it's hard to prove that you're good at what you do, so people don't take you up on that. So very specific use case I had was a client where I had to recruit for specific jobs. They had only 2 conditions where they were like, we only hire for specific jobs and we only hire in specific industries. So they had weird jobs like CAE engineers, mechanical engineers, and stuff like that. They wanted to do it. So my idea was, hey, how do I create a list of high quality companies first and then go from there? My solution to this is step 1, scrape LinkedIn and Indeed jobs using Octoparse. Octoparse is another software. They offer a free trial. It's like a 2-week or 1-month trial. And all of us have inboxes for days. So this was like an unlimited trial. Step 2 was clean leadless industry using Python plus Apollo. So again, Apollo has free company list. Python's generally free. You need to know a little bit of coding. So this gave me like thousands of jobs and companies to reach out to for this specific client based on job titles alone. After that, it was a breeze. After that, I used some AI for personalization using job description. This is optional. You don't really need to. And step 4, I found contacts using Apollo. That's it. That's how I did it for recruiting and recruiting offer. And you can do this for any and all recruiting offers. It also helps you find other lead lists. So while scraping LinkedIn, Indeed, you will get other staffing agencies. You can use clean lead lists using industries, whether Python or Apollo. That's going to be the solution engine for that. And lead list number 2. So overseas hire for agencies. Now this one's kind of recruiting related too, but super tough just because again, trust factor is low via cold email. And this client in specific was hiring VAs for marketing agencies. So yeah, so the VAs for marketing agencies. Again, like I could probably pull generic marketing agencies, but we needed a specific angle. We were very vague, and like we needed something really specific to be able to add value. So the solution here was that we scraped agencies using clutch.co. For those of you who haven't heard, clutch.co is a database of all agencies, and they have really specific data. So they divide their database based on, hey, like what the agency does, what their main revenue source is. Once we scrape that, step 2 was find out how they make the most revenue using Clutch. And that's again a free scraping tool. You can do that. Bhavi, I'm going to answer the Clutch question, scraping tool as well. But step 3, specific campaigns offering marketing assistance with those skills. So step 2 was, hey, like if they're a PR agency or something like that, we have a marketing assistant with PR skills. This campaign in specific printed, it worked really well. And then we found contacts using Apollo. These were the 4 steps that we used to find specific campaigns. Any other, Swapnil, any questions that you picked out from the chat that I can answer about this process?
So primarily, people just want to know, the people are wanting to know the databases that you're referring to. Are there any set databases, which I think you've already answered?
Yep.
And also, what are your top preferred list building sites? Right, we've got a lot in the chat. Clay being one of the topmost right now. We also have got ListKit, we've got Find Email, right? And of course the tried and tested Apollo, which is in place. So for anybody that's asking that, there are multiple sources, but these are the top trusted ones.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, all databases, everything I'm going to give in the next 2 minutes, which you guys can use. Every single one that you've probably heard of. I have more than 25 to 30 in this presentation itself, or maybe like 15 to 20. But yeah, any other questions? Any good tools for scraping emails, addresses out of websites? I'm looking. Yeah. All right. So yeah, probably something that you guys are waiting for. This is going to be my entire database collection. So feel free to screenshot it. If you guys really want to hear the screenshot noises coming, you can unmute yourself and screenshot as well.
Actually, don't screenshot it. Don't worry, folks. I'll be sharing this meeting recording. So you're not going to lose out on these databases. I will share this meeting recording with you folks by tomorrow. But if you genuinely want to go and apply this right after this call, feel free to do so.
All right. So these are the scraping tools that I use: Python, Appify, Instant Data Scraper, and BrowserFlow.app. They all have different use cases, so you'll have to probably explore it. If you're not super tech friendly, honestly, you can hire someone off of Fiverr or Upwork for Python. If the use cases, if you're using it way too often, it's probably better to use Python, but you can use the other ones. These are scraping tools. Now comes the databases. This is the start of my database list. I'm not going to go through every one of
Hi,
them.
baby. I can. Oh, you got
Can
eggs, Kim.
anyone mute yourself, please? Thank you.
My bad.
Appreciate it.
Apollo. So Apollo is one of the cheapest for contacts. That's what I use the most. Just probably started. Listkit.io. Ocean.io is the best lookalike companies database, and they do have a cheaper plan now. I think they just launched it, so it's like $350 a month. Crunchbase for funding signals, probably one of the better ones. PitchBook for revenue data. Another hack here is like PitchBook is free for American college students. Most colleges have a tie-up with PitchBook. So if you can find that, otherwise it's super expensive. Lead Magic for ad spend data, one of the really powerful tools, probably the only one where I can find ad spend data. Maybe there are others, but I couldn't find them. They have some technographics and job information. Then there's Owler.com, very specific industry data, a little expensive, Harmonic.ai. This is my other lead list. I'm not going to go through every one of them. You guys can like feel free to take it, but call out for golden leads here because you can scrape LinkedIn without cookies. Built powerful. Store leads, probably the best e-commerce data that I've found. Others for e-commerce data as well. These are mostly my offsite scrapers. So Phantom Buster, Google Maps, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn scrapers. Outscraper is pretty good. I've used this a lot. Podcast data, podseeker.co. I use this as well. Definitive HC is a little expensive, so you probably will not need this very often. And this is my agencies and VC data. So clutch.co, sortlist.com, agencyvista.com, and this is for PE and VC. Source Scrub, Connect Visible, Grata. All right, that's it. So opening this up for verification tools, my bad. One last thing before we go. For verification, one of the most important things for deliverability, it doesn't matter where you get your data from. It doesn't matter. I always use Million Verifier for everything. Even if like someone hands me their email list, I'm going to use it to Million Verify before uploading it to Smart Lead. So one of the cheapest sources there. Lead Magic, I think they just launched their verification tool. That's one of the cheapest as well. Zero Bounds, I don't know which one's better, Million Verify or Zero Bounce, but Zero Bounce feels a lot more enterprise. So I use it for enterprise clients. And Scrubby.io is for catch-alls. So probably the only tool out there for catch-alls. That's where I use it for. And yeah, that's it. Questions?
Before we dive into the questions, folks, can you use the raise hand feature? You'll be able to go do that from the reactions on the bottom right corner. Just raise your hand so that I can spotlight you and we can go through these questions one by one. Also would request you to please switch on your video so that I can spotlight you so that Namit can answer those questions. All right, we've got Lucas. Go for it, Lucas.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for the call, by the way. What are your thoughts on using Never Bounce to, clean up the data from emails?
So that's interesting. A lot of tools out in the market like Debounce, Never Bounce, probably all do the same thing. I don't have numbers as to which one is better. I just started off with a couple of tools that people recommended to me and they work really well, so I stuck with them. If you're not getting a lot of bounces, if you're getting less than 1-2% bounces, you're fine with Never Bounce.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I would also look at the kind of bounces you're getting because that's important. Like if you're getting a bunch of other bounces, then it's not Never Bounce's fault. If you're getting mailbox not found, that's probably because of Never Bounce. Anjan?
Hi guys, so I'd love to know more about how you personalize the email. Do you personalize the first line, or basically what's your strategy behind it?
Yeah, so great question. Ideally, you want to personalize in the most realistic way possible. And that's when personalization makes sense. I'm not a fan of quick lines, fast line, line.ai just because they look super artificial. My whole idea behind personalization is how can you make it value driven? An example that I gave for personalization was I used a job description, then I combined it with AI to find specific things that are important for the recruiter. So anything where you can actually drive value, or maybe you read that company description and brainstorm some ideas on how you can help them.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anjan. Okay, moving on. We've got Andy in the queue. Andy, go for it.
Hey, Namit, thank you very much for this awesome presentation. Just want to ask, have you had any experience with sending email campaigns to general email addresses, like to very, very small companies? Can you give some advice?
So when you say general email addresses, do you mean at gmail.com, at yahoo.com?
More of a info@companyname.com.
Yeah. If they're small companies, you're fine. Don't send it to big companies. So if you send it, if you have like a lot of small e-commerce companies or like small roofers or something like that, they're probably going to be run by owners. So you can send them. It really doesn't matter as long as you're getting responses. If you don't get responses, that's when it becomes a problem.
And what about domains with Gmail or Outlook accounts?
Same concept, a lot more risky. As long as you're getting responses, as long as you're sending qualified emails, you probably can go through it. Just monitor your campaigns, monitor everything, and replace domains if you guys end up, if they're not working. But if you're sending good emails, you can break every single rule of deliverability and still be fine.
Thank you.
That was Andy. Ruhi?
Moving on to Ruhi.
Hi, Namit. Firstly, this was such a helpful presentation. Thank you for everything that you shared with us. I thought the databases in particular were just super helpful. I had a question. So obviously, a lot of things go into deciding what metrics make a business or a certain task successful. In your opinion, whether it's picking the right database or whatever it is, what is the one thing that you would say to prioritize first, or you think that really worked for you? And it's obviously subjective to each different person's business, but what is the one thing, the cardinal rule that you have apart from just putting in inputs that you think worked very well for you?
Yeah, so just figure out what the best. So let me make sure I understand you correctly. You mean what the best things are to make a business successful?
No, in particularly cold emails, what
Mhm.
would you say are 2 or 3 things to just keep in mind as we try to create a business that caters to this particular service?
So send the right email. So reach out to the right people and send relevant emails. These two things are
Okay.
the most important things when it comes to cold email. Obviously, you want to be landing in the inbox, but that is influenced by the first two things.
No, that's super helpful to know because I'm a bit of a neophyte when it comes to this. So it's just important to kind of know what priority, what things should go in. But thank you so much.
Okay, thank
Can
you.
I jump in very quickly over here for you, Ruhi? Just to add on to what Namit said, it sounds very nascent and basic, but it's actually absolutely right. Like, that's where, to your point, if you find the right leads, but more specifically, the intent of the lead, it's going to make everything for you. I use this as an example quite often. You can go and sell your product outside of a restaurant where you're trying to sell food to people. Now, I am an ICP, but it's just that you sold to me at the wrong time, so I'm not ready to buy, right? Because I'm standing outside the restaurant. If you caught me anywhere else, I was the perfect person to buy from. So then you might say, okay, that's a great analogy,
Really
Vaibhav.
nice
Where do
way
I
of thinking about
actually,
it.
yeah, but where do I actually find? I'm not going to go stand outside a restaurant. This is where the intent-based outcome comes from. So I do believe seeing a lot of videos from Eric Nolosky. He's really good at this. You look in Jordan Crawford. Those two are really good people with respect to intent-based outcome in terms of the content they share. So I'd recommend you checking that out, not to be lazy and just push you there, but they have a lot of information about how you can be very specific about finding people who are looking for what you're trying to sell. Cool.
That's super helpful. Thank you for that additional context. I really
All right.
appreciate it. And that's a great
I'll drop in
advice.
the people in the chat for
Thank you
anyone
so
else.
much.
Cool. Cheers.
Thanks, Rohit, for the question. Cool. Moving on, we've got John Yu. John, go for it. Ask your question.
Thank you guys. Yeah, so when you were talking about AI personalization, is there a tool that you would recommend for that? Because like I'll use GPT-4 for like helping with spin tax, but do you have a tool that I can link to my lead list? Because with most of my lead lists, you know, you've got the personalized data, you've got name, company name, sometimes phone number, you know, you've got a bunch of different things. Is there a tool that I can link to a huge spreadsheet or CSV in order to personalize first lines custom based off of each of those identifiers?
Yeah. So two ways to do this. And one of them is like, okay, you're just using personalized first lines, which is like people go to so there's a software I used to use long back. I don't use it anymore. It's called line.ai. And I don't think Smart Writer is working anymore. So LYNE, I'll just post it on chat. Line.ai. Yeah. So that's the one. If Smart Writer is working, I'm not really sure, but you can probably use that as well. But line.ai is going to be best for personalized first lines at scale. Otherwise, like you can just use Cargo with Google Sheets or Open API with Clay. That's both of them are free, and I think you just pay for Open API credits to generate lines based on company description or job title.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. Does that answer you? Yep. Happy to help. Any other questions? I know there were a couple of questions in the chat.
There are some questions where people are asking what AI tools are you using now? And yeah, we've got, wait, we had someone raise their hand. Not sure. No, that's about it. Yeah, John, go for it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I have a quick question. Say if you were, I'm not saying you would, but if you were to send emails to a location where cold email is kind of on the gray line, meaning it's not completely legal, it's not completely illegal, what are your recommendations to just, I mean, I find that if you send good emails, you never get bad responses, you're not at risk, but what would you be your recommendation when targeting some of these countries? Thank you.
Okay. So this is not legal advice, and this advice is just for trolling and parody. So I would say
Yeah.
respect when they say no or not interested, because you don't want to get in trouble. Second, depending on your country laws, probably send it and apologize later.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's what I would do. Yeah, Tom, go for it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So I got an e-commerce client who wants to reach out, or he's an agency and he wants to reach out to e-commerce clients who are doing SEA, so Google advertising. Is there a way for you? Do you have experience in targeting those shops who are actively making Google ads?
Okay. So let me make sure I understand your question correctly. You have a client who sells to e-commerce companies if they have Google ads, if they're running Google ads.
Yes, he is doing advertising, Google advertising, and he wants to make the Google advertising better. And in case he can make it better, they should actively running it.
Okay. Yeah. So it's harder to specifically search for Google ad data, but you can use Lead Magic to get their estimated ad spend. That's one. That's going to be super helpful. You can also search for Facebook ads. So if someone's advertising on Google, they're probably advertising on Facebook as well. So there's this thing called Facebook Search Console. So build a list of e-commerce companies using store leads, brand nav, and then search for ad data on Lead Magic or Facebook Search Console.
Great, thanks a lot. And what was the first tool you mentioned to get those e-commerce leads?
Store leads or brand nav.
Store leads.
Store leads.
And on and blend navs? How do we write it?
Brandnav.io. I need to make sure. It's called brandnav.io. Store leads would probably solve it.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Folks, in the interest of time, what I would request is if you have any questions, what you can do is you can join our Slack channel over here. Just give me a minute. I'm sharing it with everybody. I'll be creating a thread there for Namit, who's also a part of that Slack channel and community, for you to ask him the questions directly. And yeah, drop your questions there. We'll see you soon. Before we leave, there's just one last question. Ankit Vipara is asking any AI tool where I can find quality leads for real estate.
To be honest, I've never done real estate cold email, so I don't know. But Swapnil, you can have that on Slack, and I'll look into it and I'll help Ankit. Yeah.
So Ankit, you should probably be reaching out to David Sinclair Black on our Slack community. He's done a lot of real estate marketing. He'll be the right person to go to for building lead lists and lead quality, like for this particular use case. Cool, folks. Thank you so much for joining and making this an amazing session. Thank you so much, Namit, for giving us so much value. And yeah, wait till tomorrow. I will be sharing the recording officially and putting it on the Slack channel. See you, folks. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, Swapnil, for hosting this.